Hello everybody, it's Lena, and in today's video we are building a vet clinic in The Sims 4 because, as you might have been able to guess from the title of this video, I did get into vet school and I'm really excited about it. So I wanted to build a clinic in The Sims 4. So that's what we're doing today, and I built this in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, so it's like a countryside vets. I thought that would be really cute, and this is basically just a normal house that has been transformed into a vet clinic, and the vet clinic just takes up the first story of the house, and then there's an apartment on the second story. So the vet who's working here also just lives on the lot, and I thought that was pretty cute. And the apartment has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, so I was kind of imagining that the vet is a single parent and she lives with her daughter, so it's just the 2 of them. But of course you can fit like 3 people into this house with the way that I decorated it, because there's a double bed, so you can have 2 parents. But I just had a single mom and her daughter in mind, so that was also kind of what I decorated it for. But yeah, I just think that's really cute and fun, and I really want to spend this video talking about just like what has been going on in my life, and primarily the whole vet school thing, obviously, because I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna do that later on in the video, but first I'm just gonna give you a little introduction to this house and tell you what's going on here on this build. So as I just told you about the house itself, but yeah, on the first story there's a vet clinic, and I made 2 consultation rooms. So I was imagining that the vet has another veterinarian hired who's working here and helping out, taking off some of the load from this person. And then I was just kind of thinking that the clients at this clinic are just the locals and people who live nearby, and they all have a like really close and cute relationship, and everybody just knows each other. I thought that would be adorable. And yeah, as I said, 2 consultation rooms, so you can have 2 vets working at once in this clinic. And then one of the consultation rooms has a surgery clinic or surgery station in it, and the other one has the, what's that even called, the one where they make them the medicine on, the lab thing. Yeah, I don't know. That item. But yeah, I don't believe I've ever built a vet clinic in these Sims before, so this was definitely fun. I've played with the vet skill quite a lot in my time, as you might imagine, because I guess it's no surprise that I've always been interested in and fascinated by veterinary medicine, because I love that, obviously. But I haven't played with it for quite a few years, because honestly, this whole thing has been making me pretty sad, because I've been working really hard to hopefully get to this point at some point or someday, and now I'm finally here, so that's really good. I'm gonna tell you more about that later on. But yeah, I've been sort of just trying to not really think too much about it in the past few years, because I never really thought I would make it, so it just made me kind of sad, you know? Like, does that make sense? I don't know if it does. But yeah, I haven't played with the skill in a few years, but while I was playtesting this build, I did play with the build for about a day, just to see if everything worked. Of course, that's an important thing to do when you're building in The Sims, to playtest the house, obviously. And I just had such a fun time, and it's so funny because in The Sims you can just start working as a veterinarian. You can just like open a clinic and then bam, I'm a vet. You don't have to go to school for it. You don't have to be qualified in any type of way at all. You can just do it, and then you start off at like level 1 and you can see clients and treat patients. That's really weird. I'm pretty sure. I haven't, started vet school yet, but as far as I know at this point, that's not how it works in real life. You do have to be authorized. Yeah, I have to go to school for 5.5 years to get there, but these people, they can just open up a vet clinic and start treating patients. Yeah, cool. But anyway, the entire build is decorated in like a very country-esque way, like the inside of it, because I just thought that would be fitting. And I wouldn't say that this type of clinic is necessarily something that I personally dream of owning or working in the future, if that's the thing you were wondering about. I don't think it is. I mean, you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. I have always had this dream of just running away and leaving it all behind and living somewhere far away from everything, and I really wanted to be a veterinarian, so I wanted to have my own little clinic and have a bunch of animals that I could treat myself and I wouldn't have to rely on anybody else and stuff like that. So honestly, this might be a little bit intriguing to me, but also I do like the city, so I don't know what I want to do with myself, okay? Clearly. But yeah, outside of the clinic, we've got a horse stable as well, and I imagine that the vet obviously really loves animals. I think that's just a general theme amongst vets. I feel like it's pretty weird to go into veterinary medicine if you don't like animals. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. And I tried my hardest to fit in as many animals on this lot as I possibly could, like as many different types. So I wanted to put the animal shed from cottage living, but I just couldn't find the room for it because this is a 20 by 30 lot and I wanted to prioritize the horse stable and it had to be like either or. So I went with the horse, and I really wanted to have a cow or a llama or something, but it just wasn't possible on this lot. But I mean, if you want to do that, then I'm sure you can make it happen, okay? I'm sure you can make some room somewhere. And I also wanted to put a chicken coop, but I couldn't quite find the room for that without it looking too, like, not cute, basically. So yeah, I wanted those farm animals that we got from cottage living, just couldn't fit them in. But I did put a bunch of bunnies and like the tree thing with the birds in it, and then I imagined that the people living here had a few pets of their own. Like I put the necessities for both dogs and cats, so you can just put a bunch on this lot. But of course, the vet skill in The Sims 4 did come with the cats and dogs expansion pack, so that means when we're working as veterinarians we can treat cats and dogs. But since then, we have gotten quite a lot of animals added to the game. A few years after the Cats and Dogs pack came out, we got the Cottage Living expansion pack, which included cows, llamas, chickens, foxes, and also other birds. And then a couple years ago by now, we got the Horse Ranch expansion pack, which obviously included horses and also mini goats and mini sheep. So we've got a whole lot more animals nowadays, but we can only still treat the cats and the dogs. And I think that's quite sad, because imagine how cool it would be to be an equine vet in The Sims, like to go out and treat horses. That would be awesome. I would love that. Like that would be my dream, okay? I don't really dream of working with horses in real life. I'm not a horse girl per se, but I do think it would be really cool in The Sims to do that. I would love that, but I do understand why the Sims team did not add that to the game when we got especially the Horse Ranch pack, because I assume they just wanted to prioritize focusing on other features in the game rather than the skill that we already have. But I don't know, I just thought it would be really cute, and it's just kind of sad that we have so many animals, but we can only treat the cats and the dogs, okay? It's kind of sad. I think at this point I might have said what I wanted to say in terms of this build. At least I can't really think of anything else I want to add at this point in time, so I think I'm just gonna move on to talking about myself. That's my favorite topic. Yeah. So, as I mentioned, and yeah, well, I've said it quite a few times in this video already, I did get into vet school, and I'm very excited and very happy about it. And I don't want to talk about the fact that the pay as a veterinarian is super bad, and that the rate for making yourself go bye-bye, offing yourself, is really high compared to like every other field in the world. But you know what? We don't want to talk about that. This is a happy day. I'm happy, okay? I just want to work with animals. Please be nice. And I think I also want to talk about my path getting to this point, because it has been nowhere near straight at all. It's been a difficult ride, and I know that I have so many more challenges in store for me. I think that vet school is gonna be super hard and super demanding, because that is what everybody tells you, and I'm ready for that, but also I know that it's gonna be really difficult, and I'm probably gonna be hairless by the time that this semester is over. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot, but I'm super happy and super excited about it, and you cannot tear me down, okay? You can't do it. God, I'm so annoying. Anyway, it's fine. But before I begin to tell you all the story of my journey this far, I've got to preface it by saying that my biggest fear in life has always been to become bitter. I've never wanted to become a bitter person, because I feel like we all have experience with typically older people in our lives, or people that we've just come across in our lives that are super bitter for whatever reason. Like if it's because they had a dream that they decided not to pursue, or if they decided to pursue the dream and they failed at it or something like that. Whatever it is, I feel like bitter people are super annoying and exhausting to be around, and they're just full of hate, and I have never wanted to become one of those people. So I've always tried my hardest to avoid it. So keep that in mind, because I do believe that has been my primary driving force in the later years of my life. And I think it's vital to explain a little bit of it, but I don't want to go into too much detail because it is surrounded by a bunch of trauma and bad memories for me. But I did not really have the most like ordinary or happy or, dare I say, good childhood, and I went through some bad things that I should not have been put through because, yeah, I did not deserve that. I was a kid. But yeah, when I was 10 years old, I basically more or less stopped going to school, and I did not really receive any education at all from the age of 10 until age 17. So I missed out on like a big chunk of education, and in that period I was also more or less completely isolated for at least around like 4-5 years of that time span in my life. Yeah, it was not super easy. However, when I was 17 years old, things did start to look a little bit different and a little bit better for me. So I did start what is probably not really, but kind of the equivalent, like the Danish equivalent of high school. It's not really the equivalent because, of course, the education system does differ a lot across all the different countries, but normally in Denmark, people start this type of school when they are 15 or 16. So when I started at 17, it was like a little bit later, but not like super weird or anything like that. But of course, I was at a huge disadvantage because firstly, I had not really like interacted with a human my age in many years, and also I had not received any education in a long time, like since I was basically or more or less 10 years old. I was very far behind, and also I was like a socially anxious wreck. So I decided to start online school, which was also not easy at all because I then took all of my classes online. I didn't have any classmates, and I did not have anyone to like talk to about it. I didn't really have any friends, and I didn't even have teachers that I could like ask because they were just no use at all. Like people, I would like text or email my teachers, and then like sometimes they wouldn't even answer, and other times it would be like a few days that went by before I got a reply. So I was more or less just left to myself and trying to learn everything. But yeah, that was very hard, but I got through it. I did. And about a year before I graduated, I didn't really know, throughout all of my life, I have never really known exactly what I wanted to do with myself. I always wanted to become a veterinarian, but I also knew, I say knew nowadays in quotation marks because things have changed, but I knew that I was never ever going to be able to make it, because for the average student it's really difficult to get into the field of veterinary medicine, and of course I had a nowhere near average or normal life, and that was not for the better. So I thought that it was never ever going to be possible, because if it's super difficult for people who have had a much more normal life, then how was I, who had a more, I say difficult, obviously everyone goes through different or difficult times and everything like that, but I had a much more unconventional life, so why was I going to be the one to make it if they couldn't, is what I thought. And I was really sad about it because I really wanted to, and I tried to ignore my it sounds so corny to say calling, but my urge to get into veterinary medicine for a long time, because I just didn't really want to deal with the struggles of it, and I knew it was going to be really hard to even try to get there, so I didn't want to try. But then about 6 months before I were to graduate, I was trying to figure out what classes to take in my last semester, and I had already taken the mandatory like sciencey classes, like easy biology, easy chemistry, and some math, but I was missing like advanced chemistry and 2 physics classes and also 2 math classes. But I decided, because I had a meltdown and the thing about me is that I make all of my decisions after I've had a really, really, really big meltdown and freak out, okay? That is when things change in my life. It's not good, but it works. It's not a perfect system, but I get shit done, okay? Don't worry about it. So I had a meltdown, and then I decided that the class I would be taking was not just some random class that I didn't really know what to do with, because that was kind of what I was gonna do because I just wanted to graduate. But instead I decided to take the easy physics class. I say easy, but it's just like the introduction to physics, I guess. And I chose to do that because, again, I really just wanted to graduate and get on with my life, and I didn't want to be in this part of the education system anymore. I just wanted to move the heck on. But I decided to take the physics class instead of the other bullshit because I really wanted to just make it a little tiny bit easier on myself if I one day decided to try to have a go at veterinary medicine. I wanted to have the option to not make it like that much more difficult on myself, I guess. It's really difficult to explain because you have to like know the ins and outs of the Danish education system, which is complicated. So anyway, don't worry about it. But I then graduated 6 months later, and I was super sad because I knew that I still would not be able to get into veterinary medicine with the classes that I had taken. I was not qualified even slightly, and my grade point average, well, so again, it's very difficult to get into veterinary medicine because your grade point average has to be really, really high, and mine was certainly not that high. It was not bad at all, especially not when you consider my childhood and my disadvantage and everything like that. My grades were quite a bit above average, so that's fine, I guess, but not good enough. So I was really mad at myself and unhappy for that reason. And then I spent like 6 months in just misery because I wanted to do something else. I really wanted to just ignore that I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to find something else that would make me happy, and it just did not happen. So I had yet another meltdown last summer, and I was about to go start a different education, and I was not excited about that at all. It sounded decent, I guess, but I didn't want to do it one bit because it was just not what I wanted in life. And then that happened. But I also, after I had my meltdown, I decided to sign up to some more classes, so more advanced math and advanced chemistry, so I could knock out those 2 classes and then try to get into veterinary medicine this year. So I did that, and I passed those classes, and then I took more advanced math last semester from January until June of this year, and then I also took more advanced physics that class. So last year I spent both semesters doing more classes from that program I had already graduated from, which I hated so much, and it was awful. And it sucked so badly because I was still at this point 100% sure that I was never going to get into veterinary medicine and everything was going to be garbage. But I tried, and I just decided that I would give it everything I had this year, and then I would see where the world would take me after all that, So I tried, and I obviously passed everything, and I did a test that I had to do to get further in the application to get into veterinary school, and I did really good on that one. And then I got invited to an interview. The interview happened on the 19th of June, a couple months ago, and then I would get the results from my application on the 28th of July, so over a month later. And I felt that the interview went pretty okay, but I was having a really hard time telling what was going on, and my odds were really bad. They were about 12% to get in, just on paper, obviously, because I had done better than average than I did get in. But yeah, there were, I think, 731 applicants, and then around 90 to 93 people got in, so that's around 12.5%. And I did get in. I was very, very lucky, and also I worked really hard. But But yeah, I did, and I got the results of that on the 28th of July, so I was just over the moon, excited and so happy. And another thing I had done to try to qualify for it was that last year, in like the fall of last year, I tried desperately to get a job at a vet clinic because I felt like that would be, you know, the best kind of experience I could possibly get to be accepted into vet school, obviously. And I also wanted to try to do some like farm work, but I don't really live near farms, so that was more difficult than to work at a vet clinic. But I applied at like every vet clinic in in somewhat near distance to me. Like I honestly applied very far away as well. So I did my all, but I did not manage to get a job at any of them, and it was really, really sad. But then I saw that it was possible to volunteer at a animal shelter. So I did that for a few months last year. I started in like October and November of last year, and then for a few months after that, and it was super fun. I loved it a lot. My job was to walk the dogs at the animal shelter, so both dogs that were in really tough situations and that had experienced really bad things and had been surrendered to the animal shelter, and then also dogs that were just like there because their families were on vacation, so they were like paying to be there. So, you know, dogs in different situations, and I had a great time with it, but it was also really, really hard for me because my shift was on Fridays at 8 to 12 in the morning, and I lived about an hour and a half away with public transport, so I had to get up really, really early to get to my unpaid job, just with like the teeny tiny chance of getting into vet school. So at that point, it really, really felt like a losing battle, but now I'm obviously super glad that I did it because that did help to qualify me a bunch. I really wanted to get more experience, but that just did not work out for me, and I was really sad because I knew that a lot of other applicants had much more experience, so that really sucked. But of course, this chapter of my story has come to a happy ending, and I'm now starting a new chapter of my life, and I'm starting vet school on Monday, so that's really exciting. I've got a whole new set of challenges and so much like new stuff ahead of me, which is scary and also super exciting, so I'm really, really grateful for it all. And yeah, that's happening on Monday in 4 days, I think. And tomorrow, Friday, I'm starting a new job as well, so a lot of stuff is going on, a lot of changes are happening. It's kind of a lot, but it's gonna be good. I really do think that it is. Also, the new job is in no way, shape, or form related to my school things. Like, it has nothing to do with animals. It's at a chocolate shop, but yeah, it's fine. I'm really, really excited about that as well. There's also a kind of cool and fun story that goes along with that job, but I don't have the time to tell you that right now. However, I do want to say that if you guys have some dreams and something that you really want to make happen, then just do yourself a favor and try to work towards them if you can. And even if it looks really, really dark and bleak for you, like it has for me for many years, then please just try anyway, because it might happen, okay? It might work out for you. And if not, then you did your best. But I think that the chances of us becoming very bitter and annoying and yucky people are a lot higher if we don't try to pursue our challenges at all, because we're going to be left with this feeling that, okay, we might have been able to, but we just like had this and that going on, so that's why we didn't make it happen for us, you know? So you gotta try if you want to avoid being very bitter. But yeah, I'm just really happy about all of these things that are happening. I'm doing good at the moment, which is like probably one of the first times in my life that I've been able to say that honestly. So I'm very thankful. I feel a lot stronger now and a lot more robust. I feel that I'm capable of taking on many more challenges in the future because I did, you know, go through quite a bit. So I'm not as weak as I could be, you know. So this first semester we're going to be having a class about cell biology and then a class about like animal tissue, and I'm really excited for especially the one about animal tissue because I think we're going to learn a lot about like specifically veterinary medicine, and the other one is about like cells in general, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of like chemistry and biology, which have always been my favorite classes, but also I have not done a biology class in like 4 years, I think, so I'm a little rusty, and that's that's gonna be interesting. I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope that life is going your way at the moment. I hope that things are working out the way you want them to, and if not, then don't give up, okay? Don't do that. Don't do it. And in terms of this channel, of course, my primary focus will now be on vet school, and then I will be spending some time at my job so I can make some money so I don't die and starve to death. And I will also like try to do some Sims related stuff. I have also spent the past year of my life, and like more than that, just trying to grind, as the kids say, and I haven't really had much time to do Sims things, so I'm guessing that it's probably gonna be the same from now on, but I don't really know. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm definitely not like anytime soon gonna go back to posting more regularly. That's just not possible for me right now. But yeah, I'm also very thankful for you guys. Thank you for spending your time with me today and for watching my videos in the past if you've ever heard from me before. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed already. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, I hope you're having an amazing day, and then I cannot wait to see you all in a video that I might post in not too long, maybe, who knows. But yeah, bye.